Guys, it is Nicole, Divine Earth Angel, and today's video is all about a lesson on lack. Lack. That word sounds so weird, I'm sorry. And lack is essentially the feeling that there's not enough. And for a lot of us, we are programmed with a fear of money and a feeling that there's never enough, especially for us who were born into situations with families that weren't so financially stable or financially secure or wise with their money. So a lot of us were raised and born with these harmful thoughts and perspectives on money. So that's what I wanted to talk to you guys about today. A lesson on lack. I was very divinely inspired to do this video because it is a lesson that I personally have been learning all of my life. And I'm not the only one. A lot of us have. Unless we were born into like wealthy families or born without the worry that there's not going to be enough food, there's not going to be enough money for your school supplies or clothes, or, you might not have a home because your parents, have gotten evicted. Like, this is something that a lot of us deal with. And these things that we have experienced and that are kind of ingrained within us are a lot of the time something that it's kind of up to us. A lot of these programs and stigmas are passed down to us from ancestral lines, generation to generation to generation. Lack. I know I hear this, and I heard this a lot growing up. Like, my parents would be like, why couldn't we be born into a family with money? Stuff like that. Or money doesn't grow on trees, or, just like these things that are said, that are ingrained into us as children. And knowing that your parents are living paycheck to paycheck, and you see how downtrodden they are when their tax return gets taken by a loan or something like that, and how sickening that made them feel. Like, I experienced this myself, and a lot of us have. And it kind of falls on us to break the cycle, to break the ancestral vow on poverty or lack, or the mind frame that there's never enough. You can work your whole life, have nothing saved. I'm going to share with you part of my lesson on lack. I've actually been working on this cycle since I left my home. Literally since I left my home to go to college, I've been working on this cycle. And I do know it's part of my soul contract is to end this, put an end to this, to put a stop to this legacy of lack, because it is my duty to change this, to break these generational curses and these generational mind frames and programming, so that my daughter and son and their family will be free of this heaviness. Share something with you for the story. It's quite personal, and I quite frankly don't care anymore about the things that I used to care about with sharing things. Like, this is why I'm here. This is why I've experienced this. And I'm going to tell you that in 2017, it was actually my first year of making 6 figures solely off of my book sales. And let me tell you, I was literally terrified. I was so afraid of the money, and I didn't know where it came from. I've never seen that much money. I didn't think that much money was possible. And that fear of money really was something that was a turning point, or an obstacle that I had to face. At the time, I was actually married. I was married to a narcissist. And along with my fear of having so much money and this fear that I've lived with all of my life, that if something good happens, something bad is going to take it away. Do you understand that connection? That is manifesting more lack. It's like the universe, like, oh, you're afraid of this? You're not happy you have this? We could take it away easy. And that's exactly what happened. My husband not only bullied me into spending the money on like a fancy car and just nonsense, not to mention he was spending the money on his girlfriend as well at the time. And I was spending money on more investing because I wanted to see the money grow. So I was putting everything back into the business. And before you knew it, I was separated from my husband, just literally walked out, and I was on my own with a newborn baby and a toddler and all of this money. And a lot of it had gone down the drain. And I was left trying to figure out how I was going to continue to build stability for my children. And of course, at this time, I'm like majorly depressed and, didn't produce as much as I used to as far as my books. And this was what you would call in tarot a tower moment, a complete crumbling that is something that is part of your mission. It's a crumbling of things that are built on fault lines, on things that are not built on a sturdy foundation. And I'm telling you, it all crumbled. And that's when the lesson really began. It was up to me to take this crumbling, the ashes all around me, the house of cards that just fell over when a butterfly flapped its wings by. Like, that's what happened. And yeah, that's when the lesson began. Like, what do you do now? First of all, you know how you achieved this. You achieved this success on your own. So let's see you rebuild on a stronger foundation and conquer this fear of lack. Okay? And it was a lesson that I had to keep repeating because there were certain things that are deep-seated things, like spending too much money on groceries, because that's something that really, really bothered me growing up, was empty cupboards and an empty fridge and being so excited to go to the grocery store to get more food. So as an adult, I would overspend, make sure that my cupboards are always full, my fridge is always full, and that was a coping mechanism for me. But it also contributed to my obsession of fear of lack. You know what I'm saying? You understand that connection? And when you fear lack, it just brings more lack to you. So I had to really, really face this head on. So at this point, my connection with the angels and archangels and God is so strong that they're like, all right, it's time for you to really, really, really put on your brave face, because we're about to take you on a wild ride. It's going to be uncomfortable. It's going to suck a little bit, but this is what you have to do to end this cycle for your entire family, for your ancestors. And there you go. The lesson, the journey began. And it really takes some hard work and some really looking deep within at all of the things that contribute to this deep, deep, deep-seated fear. The anxiety, the fear that when you get something good, it's going to get snatched away. That is a very unhealthy, and it's an unhealthy fear. But when you put too much energy and attention on these fears, it manifests. That fear manifests. Like, okay, yeah, the universe is like, yeah, I'll show you. I'll keep showing you what you're afraid of. So I need you to stop being afraid. I need you to change your mindset and tell yourself that you are worthy of your success. When I made that first 6 figures, it was freaking insane. And, I probably deep down inside didn't believe I deserved it, because it kind of happened out the blue, almost like luck, almost like God just dropped a bag full of golden coins in my lap, and I'm like, what the heck do I do with this? And do you see that that's something that actually happens a lot with lottery winners? They win all of that money, but because they've never really had it or learned how to manage it or had these deep-seated fears about it, it just goes, lottery curse. That's a lesson in lack. That's what that is. And if you are experiencing this, it's time for you to stop the cycle. It's time for you to start telling yourself, I am an abundant person. I am worthy of all of the blessings and riches that come into my life. I am a money magnet. I attract blessings and bounty and financial security every day. It's time to start telling yourself that. Look yourself in the mirror. Reprogram yourself. All of those things that you heard growing up, they're false. Those are the illusions. It's up to you to break through the illusions, truly see the truth that you can bring anything you want into your reality. But it starts with your mind, okay? It starts inside your mind. And once you get it straight inside your mind, it'll start to manifest.